Hey everybody, Bart here, and I'm going to wrap up my All Things series today with a video about lunges and then a video about shoulders. So we've talked about squats, we've talked about deadlifts, we've looked at them from a variety of angles, we've looked at improvised equipment, so the water bottle, shopping bags, suitcases, heavy books. You can improvise the weights. I've talked about how you can find low weights probably at CVS, Rite Aid, Walgreens, basic pharmacies will have some sort of fitness equipment, whether it be bands. Target's fairly cleaned out, but you might find yoga blocks, foam rollers, possibly some stretchy bands. Amazon's the #1 place as always. However, the wait time during the lockdown is really difficult to deal with, especially if the gym that is nearby you is something that you frequent in. So I understand that. Today, I'm going to demonstrate some kettlebell work, some body weight, and also some free weights. So my free weights are limited right now. I only have 5 pounds. So let's just warm up our legs real quick before we get into lunges, kicking at the butt, waking up the central nervous system by coordinating upper and lower body. So if I lift left foot, I'll reach right hand. I'll keep my elbows bent, pushing with the elbows, moving the shoulder, elbow, knee, ankle, starting to get the hips involved, working some marches in place or high knees. You could take this quickly or slowly. Up, lost it. Working different tempos. Let's roll out the knees. Back the other way. Shake it out. Let's find a nice back extension, taking the hands to the hips, shrugging the shoulders, looking up, tightening up the glutes. Rocking the right ear right, left ear left. Now everything's connected. We'll do some arm circles. We don't just warm up a portion of the body, and we can't just reduce a portion of the body. So we can't just do bicep curls and hope to lose weight. There's no such thing as spot reduction. And we can't just warm up our legs and hope to be loose overall. So let's work into a Romanian press, pushing back on our hips, trying to stretch our spine apart. Starting to wake up our breath, breathing into the nose. Back out through the mouth. All right. Shake out the ears. Let's see if we can work our left shin across, right thigh. We can hold on to something. Working on juicing, pressing out that left hip meat. A lot of muscle there, a lot of tension. You can always work balancing. Working this foot up. Sitting up tall. Shake it out. Working that other side. Focusing our eyes. Warming up our ankles. Ooh, pop, crack, snap, my joints are tight today. Let's shake it out. Let's do the hokey pokey. Put your left foot out. Some ankle circles. First all one direction. Then the other direction. Switch. Some ankle circles. Both directions. All right, so we're most familiar with forward lunges. Forward lunges are difficult to work yourself back. They're easy to do continuously moving forward. So I typically start everybody with a reverse lunge. That way they can get the form down and then come back to forward lunges later. It's just a mechanics thing. If you watch my body work forward into a lunge, you can tell I have to bring a lot of energy to come back. But if I was to step back, I'm loading up my calf. These muscles are primed to take me back forward. It's more natural. Technically, it is a lunge forward. It's just a tricky way that I use to get my clients to do the best possible form in their lunges. So let's break it down. So I step out wide. I'm not stepping on one line. I'm not a tightrope walker. There's some space in between my feet. Now the perfect amount of space, sometimes they'll talk about in my yoga classes, is about a block apart. So I'm using the lengthwise dimension here. So my feet are not on one line. They're about 6 inches apart. And so I'll step my left foot back. And I've got long legs, so I've got, or my right leg back. So I've got to have a good stride. I don't want to cheat myself. If I'm too narrow, I won't actually even be able to do the exercise. So this exercise has to be fairly wide with your frame. My frame is going to be different than everybody else's. So I've got my left knee over my left ankle. I have my chest over my thighs, like I might be staying low, like a sprint. I'm not all the way up. This posture right here is going to be very challenging on my lower back and my back knee. And it's going to throw off what you actually do in the exercise. Now, a lot of people will do lunges too quickly and they're not really bending their back knee. This is the lunge. When I drop that knee, that's it. I have a nice degree, 90 degree over my left ankle. As you can tell, back my hips over my knee. I'm loaded up with the toes underneath behind. All right, I just got back in from a run, super thirsty. And so, to lunge effectively, we cannot have our front knee come in front of the toes. It has to stay back over the ankle. So it's not going too far. Our toes are always in front of the knee. We're in our best posture with the knee over the ankle. And when I come back here, I'm bending the back knee. I don't have to touch it to the ground. Typically when I'm continuously lunging, I'm not dropping to the ground unless I lose my balance. All right, so now that we've described what a lunge is, so that's a lunge forward as I set it up in reverse, we'll talk about different types of lunges. So we have lunge walks, where I can lunge, walk. I have front lunges, where I'm stepping forward. See how I'm coordinating with my arms? I'm stepping back. I've got reverse lunges, where I step back to lunge forward. I've got static lunges. So with the static lunge, I'm just dropping the back knee, dropping the back knee, dropping the back knee. Now from here I can do a tactical lunge. I could grab my kettlebell, or I can grab a free weight. It's on the inside hand. And I'll work on lunging, just bending the back knee. I can do a lunge hold in various yoga classes, like in Vinyasa Yoga. You might find yourself in a lunge position for a while. I can lunge, I could lunge, good lunge. So you see these lunges, a lot of Vinyasa Yoga is working in a perfect lunge. Next, I'd have side lunges. So with the side lunge, I'm going to show you two different angles. First angle from the side, and then from the front. So when I step out, I hinge my hips. I'll unlock that outside knee. This knee will shift over the right ankle, toes forward. Maybe have a slight flare. I'm never going to roll up onto the outside of the foot. This foot's nice and flat. My hips come back over toward this knee. Now I approach this a bit like a split squat, because when you're doing a lunge from the side, it's very similar. So I'm hinging my hips up, pop, crack, snap. My weight's back in my heels, just like in the squat. And one leg, unlike the squat, is relatively straight. I don't lock out the knee joint. All right. So if I'm doing side lunges like that, I call it bob and weave because my stance doesn't change. So I can do stepping side lunges where I step back. I can do a one-step walk side lunge where I step over, one, over. Let's check out that lunge from the side, or from the front. See how my chest is big, right over my thighs. I'm not up tall. I could always hold a weight right here. So my chest is big, head up. And as you can tell, I'm not fully locking this knee, and I'm not fully locking this knee. If I was to do side lunges here, I could grab a free weight or kettlebell and hold it up, or even a water bottle right under the chin. All right. So we have our side lunges, we have our reverse lunges, we have our front lunges, we have our walking lunges, static lunges, tactical lunges. Now we can add on a little bit more. So typical weighted lunges would involve you holding a weight in both hands, not just the one. That one is kind of special, and that's why we call it tactical lunge. So I could have my weights on either side, have my weights on either side. I could have my weights up, weights up. I could have my weight forward. We'd call this a goblet position here. But we start small and we increase gradually. So other ways to really master your lunge, I know in CrossFit they've made good use of broom handles and other long wooden sticks for shoulder exercises that look, it needs to be wider than this. But this is a good implement. If I just want to make my lunge harder, I can do overhead lunge. So with the overhead lunge, I have something overhead. So I'm really challenging my balance. Because I don't have my two little balancing rods down by my side, bringing me closer to my center of gravity. Now, we could always do jumping, but I'm on the second floor of my apartment, and I don't think that my neighbors below will enjoy hearing me jump. So, just to review, we had our walking lunge, which could also be static here, dynamic here. We had our side lunge, which could be static as well. I could do pulses. There's so much creativity that we could employ in these exercises. It just takes having a fresh set of eyes. All right, so let's cool down. So if I'm working my lunges, it's quad, hamstring, calf. Starting with our quad stretch. Now we can use a strap. We could work this exercise from the floor maybe, or off the side of a chair. We're wringing out our quad. Maybe getting fancy. Switching sides. Trying to bring that heel up and behind towards that left butt. Relax. We're going to work
our toes out, into a forward fold, pressing the hands straight down. So this will feel a little different. It's a different spin on forward fold. It might be easier. Fully relax the head and neck. Drop the chin to the chest. Bend the knees a lot. Bend the knees a lot. These are great lunge stretches. Now if I was to pick one more, I'm going to hinge my hips, bend in my right knee, taking right hand towards left set of toes, working my calf. I'm in a leaned over position, so be mindful of your core. Keep pulling it in. Don't just be super passive in the spine. Shake it out. Switching sides, hinging my hips, bending my left knee, taking that left hand towards the right toes. Core engaged. Breathe through it. Relax. Very good. All right. Maybe we roll out the wrists. Rock the ears side to side. Shake out the arms. All right, up next, we're gonna do all things shoulders. So thank you for tuning in. Hope you have a wonderful Friday. Take care.